Did Savannah Chrisley give up on prison reform when parents were released? Fans of Chrisley Knows Best saw Todd and Julie Chrisley get an early release from prison thanks to a presidential pardon back in May. During their time behind bars, the Chrisley family, particularly Todd and Julie's daughter Savannah, famously discussed prison reform. However, since then, fans are wondering if this will still be the case for the star now that Todd and Julie have been released. The Chrisley family became famous through the USA Network series, Chrisley Knows Best. Back in 2022, Todd and Julie were found guilty on a variety of charges, including bank fraud and tax evasion. Originally, the two were expected to spend a combined sentence of 19 years behind bars. However, they received an early release after being granted a presidential pardon by President Donald Trump. During their time in prison, members of the family, including Todd and his daughter Savannah, have discussed prison reform. As previously reported, even back in 2023, Savannah had been dubbed a poster child for prison reform. At one point, early on, there was even concern that her attempts to raise awareness could end up causing more harm than good for her parents. Since their own release, Todd and Julie have often discussed prison reform. As previously reported, during a recent episode of their podcast series, Todd recounted an emotional moment when he left prison, with other inmates asking him not to forget them. However, with their release, some fans have felt that Savannah has calmed down her efforts to fight for prison release. Taking to social media, one fan asked, "No more prison reform talk or efforts from Savannah?" As the fan continued, "Haven't really heard her speak about it ever since her parents got released." However, the fan acknowledged that just because they didn't hear anything as of late doesn't mean it hasn't been happening. As the fan noted, maybe she is doing things behind the scenes. But knowing how vocal she is like Todd, I don't think that's the case. Taking to the comments, many fans shared their own reactions to the idea. Some noted there was some dissonance between Todd's comments while behind bars and since his release. In recent conversations, Todd seemed to emphasize receiving special treatment while in prison, usually emphasizing that he had to make his demands clear with staff. As another fan wrote, "That's so confusing too because when he was imprisoned, she was talking about how bad it was and the conditions. But once he got out, he had been talking on the podcast about how his stay wasn't bad and how he would get food from restaurants brought to him and stuff like that." A few fans also felt that her main focus was seeing her parents pardoned. Others felt that these things take time, pointing out that there were times Savannah felt that wouldn't happen, either. However, others felt she is busy dealing with her parents returning to her life, as well as the family's new Lifetime docuseries. Some comments included, "She wasn't doing anything except trying to get her parents out. Mission accomplish. From what I heard, she wishes her dad was back in jail or the way he described it, summer camp." For her part, Savannah also talked about what she has planned since her parents' return on her Unlocked podcast. In a solo episode, she touched on her journey since her parents' pardons and shares the emotional rollercoaster she experienced during that time. Have you been following this story? Make sure you come back to TV Shows Ace for all the latest reality TV and celebrity news.